Hey, got some more from Zoe. It's Casey here from Cape Town. How you doing? How you doing? I'm one of those unfortunate buggers who's in South Africa during lockdown. And why I mean unfortunate is because we are bound to a very sinister law or decision that prevents us from buying anything nicotine or nicotine related. So unfortunately, you must come up with different little ideas or plans to cope with the situation. But what I ordered from overseas, and I actually received it, are 4 of these little kits. Actually 5, but I sent my brother one of them. And these guys are used to rebuild this. And this is the Caliburn pods. Now they can also be used to rebuild the cocoa pods, because the pods are very similar, if not identical. But anywho, I'll just quickly show you what these kits contain, and then we'll start rebuilding one of the Caliburn pods. Alright, so this is what the little kit looks like. You do get a variety of these kits, but this specific one is from Baptoy. And you can see that the coils on the inside is going to ohm out at 1.2 ohms, and you also get 10 pieces. If we open up this little box, you're going to get this little tool, and the tool does vary from different companies. You're going to get 5 of these strips, each containing a very thin, well, 5 very thin cotton strips, but you're just going to use 2 of those 5 in the build. And then you can see the little coils, which has actually been included as well. The tool which I'm going to use is from my little small Leatherman, because it is very nice. It's nice and thin at the top over there, and you're going to need that to pry open a section of the Caliburn pod. So there's our little pod which we're going to rebuild. First thing which I'm going to do is I'm just going to remove this head, because we do not need this guy. Alright, and then I made myself a little blankie of tissue, which I'm just going to put on the one side, so that my different components can just lie on here, so that I know where everything is and does not get lost. Now the reason why I said you need something nice and thin like this is because you need to pry in between the plastic and without actually trying to break this. And I think this little guy works perfectly for getting in there. And you just slightly squeeze this little centerpiece out. There you go. Right, so there you can see it's actually out at the moment, and then you just pull this little guy out, release it totally, and that's what you want. This is what we're going to work with. And now you can remove this little portion at the top over here. You see it's got a little O-ring, and you can just remove it just like so. And then at the bottom you've got these 2 little very small contact points. There you go. It just lifts out like that. And then you can just take your finger and just put it on your little cloth, so you know where it is. There you go. There you go. Very carefully, and place it where you're not going to lose it. And then you can actually just pull off this portion. There you go. Next thing which we're going to remove is this rubber grommet. And this you are just going to put on your little cloth as well. And then you've got this exposed. Now the trick is going to be to get this portion on the inner portion out from inside here. And you can actually see, if you look very closely, that it's press fitted in, and that is where this little tool comes in. So this little tool you're actually going to use for 2 things. Number one is you're going to put your coil around it to actually put your cotton in there, and the other one is you can use the back portion to actually remove the inside by squeezing it from this side. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put this little guy in there. And then I'm going to take this piece of flat pliers, because there's a small little ridge over there, and just put it over there and use that ridge to press down on it, so hopefully remove the inside. And there you go. And now we have this. This is what the inside is, and this is the hollow portion out of which it came. And now you can remove your cotton and your coil from this. You can also use this tool. There you go. Like so. Okay, now this is a little guy which we must rebuild now. So going back to our little toolbox, all we're going to do is remove one of the small little coils, remove some cotton, and now you're just going to use the tool and fit that little guy in. It should fit perfectly over the front end of the coil, like so. We're just going to need 2 of these strips out of the 5 strips, so we're just carefully going to remove 2 of them Now you're going to see this coil has got two wires running. The one is bent from the bottom and the other one is bent from the top. So what you're going to do is you're going to take your cotton and just slide it in there, all the way to the bottom. Now the trick is to wrap your cotton around as tight as possible. Right, and that you're going to do till you've got a little piece left like this. Now all you must do now is you're going to take this little portion and you must get that on again. And I'll find it just to slightly twist this little guy to make sure that all the cotton is on the inside. And then just slide it in. And just use this little guy just to push it all the way in, all the way to the bottom. And that's how mine looks on the inside. You can see there's a nice hole for the airflow to come through. Right, so now you've got this little piece with this piece of cotton sticking out, and all you're going to do now is you're just going to wrap this little piece of cotton around the outside of this, nice and tight, nice and tight. Once you've done that, all you do is you just have to insert this upper portion over it. Okay, now you can see it's pushed all the way back and your two wires are still separate. And then just take this little guy and just push it in through the top again, just through the middle, all the way through, just to make sure that you've got that consistent hole on the inside. Okay, then you just need to put this little grommet back. Just make sure that both the wires go through the inside of the grommet. And then taking this little guy, you will actually see, if you look on that side, there's two small little holes on the sides. There you can see the holes. Alright, now these wires, these two wires must go through those small little holes, one on each side. And therefore I do that. Just make sure that guy is through there, and then there you go, on the inside. So now you can just push these guys to the side and then just snip off your little wires so it's nice and flush. Like so and like so. And then by taking a tweezer you can just put back your little contact points very carefully and just squeeze them in position. And the other one. There you go. Done and dusted. Look how nicely that looks. If you cannot see through that little hole in the inside very nicely, just take this little guy again, just before you close up everything, and just turn it through. Just turn it a bit there, and then you should actually get that nice gap through the inside for airflow. Sweet. And then you put back the top portion, like so. Just make sure your little grommet is there. And insert the whole monkey nut back in place. All my clips are perfect. One little guy sticking out. Just make sure you push this little contact point in all the way. And there you go. Okay, let's just refill it with a bit of juice. Bit of 12 milligram caramel tobacco. And yeah. And there you've got it. Put back the top portion. Right, so the first time it might take you about 10 minutes, but as you get juiced up to do this thing, you might start doing it under 5 minutes. You never know, but at least you've got another 2 weeks maybe, which you can vape with that little amount of effort which you actually put in. And the kits are not expensive. As I said, you can use that kit to rebuild each of these little pots 10 times. Nice times. So yeah. And it vapes. There you go. This is Kaiser signing over now. Cheers.